What's up, YouTube? Cholula's Comics back again today, day after Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a good holiday, had some fun, maybe got to read some comics, but most importantly, got to spend time with family. I'm here today doing my submission for Alex the Comic Hoarders 200 sub video contest. Alex, congratulations, man! You did it. You got over. You're well over 200 now. Should be on your way to 3, 4, and 500. So I wish you all the success in the world. If you guys don't know Alex, make sure you sub him up. Check him out, Alex the Comic Hoarder. He has a ton of great knowledge about books. He shows off some great books. I love how he always shows doubles and triples and quadruples of really good books that he likes. I myself have started to do that. Um, and I just really like the quality of his videos. Like everything's always so well framed up. His lighting is great, and it's little touches like that that sometimes make the video. They just put it to the next level. But I mean, just based off of Alex and his knowledge and his on camera charisma and what he does, he's a great dude. So I suggest you guys all check him out, sub him up. Alex is putting on this contest. He has quite a few rules. Actually, not that many rules. This is the rules. I printed this straight from the description on his video. And what I'm going to do is, Alex, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to take that and put it on the description of this video entry, just in case anybody's watching my video first. That way they can go ahead and sub those people up. So one of the rules that Alex has is, obviously, that you're sub to him and that you're over 18, but he also is giving shout outs to the following YouTubers: Dork Four, Justin Byers, Blackpoll, Seeking Nearman Comics, Leonard Hutchins, 88 Samurai, Count Von Strange, Spaceboy Jordan, and I am not even on camera. I apologize, guys. And Daydreams and Nightmares. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all that stuff in the description. Alex wants you guys all to be sub to them as well. So I'll put I'm going to copy that into the description. That way you guys can just sub them up real quick. All cool people. I was sub to some of those guys already, but I've already gone and sub to the rest. So now into the actual details of the contest. He wants us to tell him a little bit about who we collect, who our favorite characters are, what you're into, show some stuff that we collect. So that's what I'm going to do next. He wants to know what our favorite books are. In the terms of my collection itself, I have 3 favorite books, and it's for a really special reason. It's showing 3 of my favorite characters / teams. And let me just get into it. This is in the order that I got them in, not in the order of how they're my favorite or anything, but this is the order and how I got them. So this is Amazing Spider-Man, number 50. It's a PGX 7.0, and it is signed by Stan the Man Lee, right there. I hope you guys can see it right here. So this is one of my favorites. The thing about this storyline is, if you guys don't know, this is the basis for the one of the first Spider-Man movies. Do you remember when Peter goes and he takes his costume off? He doesn't want. I think it's Spider-Man 2. He takes his costume off. He's like, he doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. He throws his costume in the garbage, and he has that whole speech with Aunt May, and she tells him how the world needs a hero. And funny enough, honestly, that's my favorite Spider-Man movie because of this book, and because of this book, that's my favorite Spider-Man movie. So that's one of the favorite books that I have in my collection. And again, it's signed by Stan Lee. Here's another one that I have. This is Tales to Astonish. This is Tales to Astonish, number 59. It's the first appearance of the Hulk in the series, and I also have it signed by Mr. Stan Lee. It's a CGC 6.0. This is an important book to me because this is the earliest appearance of the Hulk that I personally have in comics. And he is my second favorite hero of all time. Spider-Man's my third favorite hero of all time. You guys already know Wolverine's my favorite. But this is my second favorite hero of all time. So I'm really happy and glad to have this in my collection. And I'll have a story about all 3 of these books that I'm going to show in just a second. I've shown these books before. I know some of you guys have seen them. This is X-Men, number 14. This is the first appearance of the Sentinels. Again, signed by Stan Lee. It's a CGC 6.5. And it is, again, one of the favorite books that I have in my collection. And let me tell you guys why. Each of these 3 books that I have here that I just showed, I was lucky enough to actually buy the books raw myself. I went and I sought them out. I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Stan Lee in person. I got to shake his hand, and he signed all of these books for me. Uh, he personally signed all these books for me. And the reason I got these books, I'm lucky enough to say that all of these books coincide with some of my favorite characters. But honestly, more importantly, they're my kids' favorite characters. Spider-Man is my oldest daughter, Elisa's favorite character. So, and he's my third favorite character, and I was able to buy that book. She was with me when I got him signed. I got it graded for her, and now that's her book. I mean, it's my book for now. I'm taking care of it for her, but that's her book. I can't wait for the day that she's old enough to have it, and it's in her collection. I get to share this, and that's really cool that we all get to do if we have kids. I mean, collecting is our passion, and we love it and we enjoy it. But the sad truth, the sad reality is we can't take any of this stuff with us. Time gets the best of all of us, and we can't take any of this stuff with us. So we have fun with it while we're here. But the biggest thing is we get to pass this on to our kids. And the memories that holds, and that's something that's really special to me. Is I get to share that. I got to share that with my daughter, and now she gets to have this book, and it's not just going to be of her favorite character. It's not just going to be that she got to meet Stan Lee, but that we got to do it together, and that's what I'm really happy about sharing with them. The Hulk is my son's favorite Marvel character. It's not his favorite character, but it's his favorite Marvel character. And I got that one, that Tales to Astonish for him. And the funny story is, I bought that Tales to Astonish and that X-Men book at the same time. And my wife was 6 months pregnant with our daughter, who's 2 months old now, my youngest daughter. And I didn't know what to get her because obviously, she wasn't here yet, so I don't know what her likes and her dislikes or what her favorites are. So I'm hoping she'll like X-Men. But I just got it in the spirit of that's our last kid. She completed the team. X-Men's a team book, so it's a key issue. It's first appearance of the Sentinels. This is her first appearance. I don't know. That was the spirit that I got that book in, and then Lisa, my oldest daughter, was with me, and she got to see Stan Lee, and she actually got to witness him signing all the books. So that was pretty cool. That's why those are my favorite books, not just because they're old, because they're keys, or because Stan Lee signed them, but it really is the experience behind the books, and that's why, and I think that's why we all collect, because we've all had a good experience, good memories tied to comic book collecting at some point or another, and we just continue it on to make sure we still keep that passion. Okay, enough with the sappiness, you guys. Sorry about that. So those are my favorite books. My favorite series and my favorite character are one and the same. You guys already know my favorite character by far, hands down, blows everyone else out the water, is Mr. Wolverine. So my favorite series is going to be the Wolverine first and second series. This is number 1. Number 2. Number 3. And number 4. And I got these books, I would say, I started collecting comics when I was 6 years old. I mean, easy 6 years old. And, I would save up my little allowance off the little chores that I did or whatever, and I would ask my grandpa to take me to the comic book shop, and I would collect whatever books, caught my eye, whatever caught my attention. But right around the time I turned 7 or 8 is when the X-Men series came out, the animated series, X-Men the animated series, and Wolverine out the gate was my favorite character. So then I started collecting Wolverine, the current runs, whatever was off the shelf, I just started collecting. As I got older and started making money for myself, I was like, okay, cool, I can go back and buy these books for myself. I remember being 10 years old, seeing this book in a comic book shop up on the wall for like $20. And I was like 10 years old, and I was like, man, when will I ever have enough money to have $20 to be able to buy that book? So there were books that were out of reach for me, and now that I'm older and I have money, I can go back and buy them. I got this set, I think, out of high school. Once I started, I was busting tables and saving all my money and buying comic books. So that, and then of course, I don't know, I save my books. I used to save all my books like this. I don't anymore. I keep them in these binders, and what I did was I printed little pictures of all of the books that are in each binder. So I'm just going to show real quick, and I'm not going to show them all, but I'm going to show, this is the first Wolverine series, and I got issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, issue 4. So that's how I used to save my books, and I have about 20 books in this one binder. And so then I accumulate all my binders and I keep them in this big plastic tote. So they're like single bagged and boarded, and then they're in these other bags that are like have hole punches in them to put them in the binder. So they're kind of double bagged and boarded. And then on top of that, I have the binders to keep them safe. And then on top of that, I keep them in these large plastic tubs that are like sealed up. I was kind of neurotic. I think I was a little bit overboard. And to be honest, it's too hard to keep up with trying to keep your whole collection that way. So I've kind of stopped doing that now. Uh, but I don't know. I've toyed with the idea of pulling those books out and saving them just in regular boxes. But they seem to be pretty good. They've been preserved and they stay nice. So I guess that answers who my favorite character is and who my favorite storyline is. And I've said it before. Wolverine is my favorite character. It's not. I mean, he's a badass. He's cool. Everybody knows his tagline is he's the best there is at what he does. But it's not just that. That's not why he's my favorite. I showed this picture earlier. This is why he's my favorite. You see that? He says right there, you messed with the kid, Marco. You messed with me. That's Juggernaut. And that's Wolverine. Let me show you guys where Wolverine's standing. He's standing on a countertop. Look how much freaking Juggernaut is left. Wolverine in the comics, his stats are he is 5'3" tall. On my best day, I'm 5'8". I've always been a short guy, as far as like the shortest guy in the class or like amongst my friends. So I feel for the guy, but he's no punk. He doesn't run from a fight. His first instinct is not to fight. He even tries not to. There's a lot of storylines where it's like, man, I don't want to do this, but at the end of the day, he knows what he is. He's not scared. He keeps it going, and that's why I like Wolverine. So you guys know my favorite books, my favorite series, my favorite character, my favorite storyline. I'm gonna jump over to DC really quickly. Um, Interesting story. I mentioned that once the X-Men cartoon came out, I started liking the X-Men and Wolverine specifically. So I started collecting strictly Wolverine. I don't know about you guys, but personally, growing up, I mean, we didn't have tons of disposable income with where I could go and buy 3, 4, 5, 6 comic books in a day. I would save whatever little money I had, and that's why I made the decision to pick one person, one character, and follow that storyline and collect that storyline. There was tons of other stuff that grabbed my attention, that I liked, that I wanted, and now as an adult, and I'm blessed enough to have a job that where I have some disposable income, and this is my hobby, and I can buy other stuff, and my collection has grown a lot in the past, I'd say 6, 7 years. I've collected other stuff I've always wanted to. But as far as storylines is concerned, well, actually, where I was going with that is I've always wanted to, and saying that is recently, since the Flash TV series came out, I remembered I'd completely forgotten that the Flash was one of my favorite characters growing up. I mean, it was actually the first comic book I ever bought was the Flash number 67, and we're talking about early 90s, or late 80s, early 90s. It was Flash number 67, and it was the Wally West Flash. I'm not talking about Barry Allen. Barry Allen is cool, but I grew up with the Wally West Flash, and the reason those comic books stood out to me, even as a little kid, red was my favorite color. I love red. Red is just so eye-catching. It's such a brilliant color. It elicits so much emotions for me. Like it's red. It goes from anger to love. I love red. So when I first walked into a comic book shop and saw this character who stood, he to me seemed like this massive guy in this red suit, and he just looked powerful and cool and fast. That's what drew me to buy my first comic book, and I started collecting those. It's been a long time since I could find them. I had them at my mom's house. So if you talk about, you mentioned what are you trying to collect? I recently, within the past year, made the decision I need to go back, and I want to collect that series one. I would be so happy to start getting those again. Um, One of my favorite story arcs. Now jumping over to DC, one of my favorite story arcs is this one here. It's Batman: Death of the Family. Not to be confused with Death in the Family, which is like, what was it, like in the late 80s when the Joker killed Robin. So it's similar, but this is the new 52 version, like reimagined version of that. And basically what happens is the Joker goes and he kidnaps the whole Bat family, and he's been gone in Gotham for a while, but he's come back, and he is even more batshit crazy than he usually is. He's really malicious and vindictive, and he kidnaps the Bat family in order to make Batman realize his true potential. The Joker thinks that Batman's basically lost a step, that he's gone soft, that he's not the same as he used to be, and basically that the family is slowing him down. So in order to make Batman what he is, what he once was, and what he can be, he kidnaps the family and is threatening to kill off the whole Bat family, basically. Um, there's a couple of key points in this storyline that are so cool. And actually, I did my first video about this. Um, Batman's talking about how he's gonna go see the Joker for the first time after their first fight, and he's pumping himself up. The thing that I really like about this storyline is that all of the characters are there. They're the same characters. They're in the same type of storyline. They're fighting the same fight, but they're kind of approaching the story in a different light, and that the characters are going through things that they normally wouldn't. We know that Batman is calm, cool, collected. He does good under pressure. You know, he plans. He preps for everything, right? But I like Batman when he's vulnerable. I like Batman when he doesn't know what to do, when it shows his human side. I mean, that's so cool because you look up to Batman, you aspire to be Batman because he's almost infallible. Like he's always training. He has such discipline. He's almost like a machine, and you're like, man, this man has willed himself to be perfect. But then the Joker gets to him, and he's walking up to this house, and earlier in the storyline, Batman says, you know, I've studied the human emotions and I've studied pupils, and you can see, even in the toughest, most hardened criminals, you can see the way that their pupils dilate. If they open, it's because, you know, they're scared or there's fear. If they close, it's because there's hatred or there's malice behind it. He's all, there's 32 variations of it, and he goes through each one. And he's walking up to the mansion to go meet the Joker for the second time in the storyline. And to be honest, he's scared. He's lost Alfred. I think he's lost part of the other Bat family, and he has to will himself to go see the Joker. And he's reminding himself. He says this out loud. He's like, he's just a man. He senses fear. He feels pain. He has to. He's like second guessing himself. And then he goes through the gamut of emotions, and he says, I remember when the Joker's eyes pierced through the room and stared at me. And for a second, he finally did flinch. He showed some emotion, and Batman figures out that out of all this whole time, the emotion was love. And he freaks out. He's like, oh my effing God. Like, the Joker's doing this because in his sick mind, he loves me. And I don't know, the first time I read it, I was just chilled. I was like, oh my God. It's so crazy to think about it that way. Like this individual who you look at as your nemesis, your arch enemy that you have all of this hatred for, you've been fighting with and against this whole time, and he's doing all of these hateful, mean, malicious, and disgusting things to you and your family, and it's because he thinks he loves you. Oh my God, it was just really chilling, and that's why this is one of my favorite storylines. I'm showing you guys, this is just the hardcover trade of it. I actually have each of the individual books, and it's really cool. Each one of the storylines in the other books has a cover like this, where it's die cut and it's the Joker's face, and you pull it back. Oh, and this is actually the Joker's face because he did some crazy stuff and he chopped his face off, and now he wears it as a mask in the new 52 series. But in the other ones, you pull it back and then it's Batman, or it's Robin, or it's the Red Hood on Teen Titans, or it's I don't know if Catwoman has one, but I have quite a few, and I think I'm missing one or two in the series. So that's one of my favorite storylines. As far as toys, I collect some pops. The only pops that I've ever gone out and bought for myself are my favorite TV show is The Golden Girls. One of my favorite TV shows is The Golden Girls, so I went out and bought some pops. I have a running joke with OMG Chris and Tat Comics, saying that, you know, I'm scared to go and buy pops because I don't want to spend the money on buying pops because I will get really addicted to pops. I know I will. So I really like pops. Any character that I like, I mean, I would get a pop of. OMG Chris was really nice enough to send me these four pops that I'm going to show you. I got Harley Quinn, Deadpool. He sent me this Batman Arkham Knight, and he sent me this Suicide Squad version of the Joker, which I mean I really like these. Thanks again, man. I really appreciate it. So I have these to add with my Golden Girl pops. Um, Again, I don't collect them not because I don't like them, but because I'm scared to spend the money on them. Honorable mentions as far as storylines and books. I mean, my favorite team is the X-Men. Uh, the parallels between what they stood for. They originally stood for like the ultimate. Now, they originally stood for change, for social justice, for they were a parallel in comic form for racism in society, and then in comic book form the racism or bigotry that they had to deal with. You guys all know that Professor X and Magneto were meant to originally be kind of like Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X. They're both fighting for the same cause at heart, but the means in which they go about it is just really different. And they were friends, but they're enemies, and it's just such a cool storyline. It's such a cool idea. I've loved mutants since the first day I heard about them. I think even as a kid, I kind of knew that that's what they were going for, and that's why they've always been my favorite. I'm running along here, guys, but yeah, I'm running along, so I'm gonna cut it short pretty soon here. Um, Alex, thank you so much for putting on this contest. I really get lost and enjoy talking about my favorites and why they're my favorites. I hope I didn't ramble on too much, man. I hope I met all the criteria. Oh, I knew there was one more. That's why I made notes. I'm glad I didn't cut it short. Before I figure out to cut this short, give a shout out to YouTubers that you think need more subs. I can't do too much of the ones that I think need more subs. I think everybody needs more subs. So let's go out there and let's look to see who's doing good things in the community. I really tend to focus on YouTubers that have a real passion for what they do and for what they talk about. It doesn't necessarily have to be the content. They could show me what other people might consider are bad books or books that they don't like or maybe books that they don't have an interest in. But just the fact that people are like Chris says, I'm going to steal this from Chris, are sharing what they're passionate about, that's what really gets me. Um, One of the first YouTubers that I ever followed, I gotta give a big shout out to Biggie's Comics. If you guys don't know Enrique, aka Biggie's Comics, really cool dude out of New York. He's part of the NY Warriors, so big shout out to all the NY Warriors. They're all cool dudes. Check them out, sub them up. You talked about shows. They have a show every other Monday night, and I think it was one last week, so probably not this Monday, but next Monday they'll have one. So check them out. A lot of cool dudes on there. Let's see, who else do we got? Gene Paul Ace Peter, GPAP as he's known in the community. He's a really cool dude. He's always doing off-air hangouts. He's on CBF, Comic Book Fanatics Facebook page. You want to talk about knowledgeable? That guy is really knowledgeable, and he really like wholeheartedly enjoys sharing his knowledge. Like he will tell you all about a character, all about a book. And there are certain guys in our community. I'm not gonna name any names, not even in our community, but we know in the comic book collecting community, there are certain guys that they'll tell you all about a character or storyline, and they come off kind of snooty, like you don't know about such and such. Their first appearance was here, and da da da. GPAP is not like that at all. He's so cool. He'll tell you all about it. He'll tell you what he thinks his opinions are of spec books and stuff like that. Just a really nice guy. I can't say enough about him. He just actually helped me figure out some stuff with my channel art. So again, thank you for that so much. I really appreciate that. Eddie, the comic guy, I did my first video for Eddie. Check him out. He's a really good dude. Great artist. Got a good heart. His biggest things are comic books and family. Comic books and family. Not in that order. Family, then comic books. But Eddie's a good dude. Anyone on the Comic Book Fanatics Facebook page, all the guys out of Blasted or Stashed It are really cool. Yeah, I'm gonna cut it short. Tats, I can't. OMG Chris and Tats Comics. I'm thinking about guys that I have met over YouTube, that I formed friendships with or relationships with. That I feel that I can go to and talk to. So OMG Chris, Tats Comics, Biggie's Comics, GPAT. Those are all cool guys. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. I should have wrote some names down. Don't feel bad if I left you out. I apologize. But you guys know who you are. All right, that's it, guys. I got to cut it short. This is going on way too long. I get nervous when I make long videos because they're too long. So again, Alex, congratulations on reaching 200 subs. I'm going to go ahead and upload this really soon. Good luck to everyone who's going to be entering your wonderful contest. You got some great prizes. Keep going, continued success, man. And to everybody else, I'll see you guys soon. And until I do see you, make sure you keep stacking hella comics.